For High Plus News, I'm Bevan. Eddie Griffin and black people are now responding and sharing what some people are thinking after news broke of the U.S. bombing in Iran. While headlines flash red alerts and politicians talk about retaliation and strategy, in living rooms, barbershops, and timelines across America, the reaction is far less patriotic and far more personal. For many, it's not about foreign policy, it's about priorities. It's about schools, underfunded, neighborhoods over police, inflation rising, and veterans still untreated. There's been a long history on the conflict between the United States and Iran, but on February 28th, the United States and Israel would bomb the country of Iran, with Trump accusing Iran of having nuclear bombs that threaten allies and can even reach the U.S. The attack would end up killing Iran's supreme leader on Saturday, which for many would increase a worry of retaliation by Iran. In response, Iran would fire missiles at Israel and U.S. bases across the region in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan. Images would shake up people back in the U.S. and even left some stranded in those mentioned regions due to airports being shut down because of the conflict. During a new episode of his show, NNN, Eddie Griffin will call out the United States for its contradictions of being a Christian country and even using its citizens to fight a war unrelated to them.
President Trump says he's May the 17th, I believe the date is, that this country's going to rededicate itself to God. One nation under God, because we're such godly people. That's why we just stole a man and his wife from Venezuela, the president. The news ain't covered nothing. Where's this man and his wife at now? See, y'all just use them distraction stories and then they just disappear from the news feed. I thought the 10 Commandments said, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Now you ready to send our children over to Iran to kill some more motherfuckers ain't did shit to us. Go on and dedicate this nation to God, because God ain't with y'all. Y'all must be talking about the God down below, the motherfucker y'all be praying to.
For some black Americans, foreign policy feels distant from daily survival. The wars change names, the headlines change countries, but the pattern feels familiar. From Vietnam to Iraq, black Americans have consistently served on the front lines of wars framed as fights for democracy abroad, while still battling inequity at home. During the Vietnam War, civil rights leaders openly questioned why young black men were being drafted to defend freedoms overseas that they themselves did not fully experience in America. Decades later, the Iraq War followed a similar pattern. Black service members disproportionately represented in combat roles, yet returning to communities struggling with underfunded schools, limited healthcare access, and economic instability. Many people are coming to social media expressing their feelings of wanting to be viewed separately in response to the war. In relation to how black and brown people are treated unfairly in the States, but are asked to fight for the country, news correspondent Joy Ann Reid would end up sharing a moment over a young Latino soldier telling his family bye before shipping off to fight. As far as some black Americans, they would make sure that it was known that black America did not see itself a part of this new conflict.
Hey, Iran. First and foremost, assalamu alaikum. Happy Ramadan. Yes, you want to get my formalities out the way. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You know, I'm just here to speak on behalf of my people. We ain't never had an issue with y'all. My name is actually Arabic. If you knew anything about niggas, we really do admire the Muslim community. Have y'all ever heard of Malcolm X? Y'all would have loved him. Y'all have our permission.
Quick question. How do we make the Iran people know that it's just him? You don't have nothing to do with that, mamas. Everybody in Iran, please tell your leaders, girl, it was him. It was just Donald.
Over on X, one user would even say, "Dear Iran, we don't have smoke with you. We cool?" Signed, the Blacks of America. Black people's treatment is not lost on Iran. The country once tried to throw support behind black Americans, condemning police brutality after George Floyd's murder and saying U.S. treatment of black people was so concerning it deserved sanctions of its own. Tehran's officials publicly criticized how black people were treated by U.S. police and vowed to target what they call systematic racism in America with punitive measures, using Floyd's death as justification. As one user on TikTok would mention, Iran in the past has been clear with sharing that they empathize with Black Americans in the States. In 1979, when 66 Americans were held hostage at the Embassy of the United States in Tehran by Iran's then new leadership, they would end up releasing all of the African American hostages to show solidarity with the world's oppressed and marginalized people. Iran would even go on to put Malcolm X on a postage stamp.
I just remember, I'm old enough to remember, during the Iranian hostage crisis, as we called it here in this country, when the U.S. Embassy fell to the revolution there and American hostages were taken. What most Americans remember is that the hostages were held for 300-something days. First, there was an attempt to get them out, and that failed, and eventually they were released. But that's not what this video is about. You know what this video is about? When they had those hostages, the Iranians said, we're going to let the Black people go. Now that there's another little battle going on between this government and the Iranians and their revolution there and the battles we're having here, all I'm saying is, if y'all decide to do something, just remember, just like y'all let us go last time, leave us out of this mess.
So you've got Iran pointing at American racial injustice and Black Americans reacting to war with, that ain't got nothing to do with us. It's almost like, see, Iran, we don't want any smoke and we have something in common. But that doesn't mean either side actually sees eye to eye. It just shows how far U.S. domestic issues echo abroad and shape global narratives. You see, when the U.S. bombs Iran, the expectation is unity. But for many Black Americans, the response is different. We don't want any smoke. We didn't vote for this. And to some, this feels like another unnecessary war. History plays a role in that reaction. Black Americans have fought in every major U.S. conflict from Vietnam to Iraq, often in disproportionate numbers. Yet the battles at home, voting rights, police reform, still feeling very much so unresolved. So when wars move faster than justice, skepticism follows. And here's the irony. After George Floyd's murder in 2020, Iranian officials publicly criticized the U.S. over its treatment of Black Americans, amplifying "I can't breathe" on the global stage. Whether that was solidarity or strategy, it's debatable, but it happened. So when some of us say that ain't got nothing to do with us, it may sound dismissive, but for many it's fatigue, it's distance, it's a community wary of being pulled into another conflict while still fighting battles at home. And that tension, that's the real story. For High Plus News, I'm Bevan.